Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sign Expo at FESPA 2015. We're just going to spend a little bit of time thinking about digital wayfinding. We're going to look at what it means to have a good wayfinding strategy in the modern age for this digital sphere. We live in an age at the moment where we can always locate ourselves. We always know exactly where we are on our planet, and we can always locate ourselves within the vastness of the universe. We all have touch screen devices, we have smartphones, we have digital platforms, we have screens all over the place at the moment. So the future of digital wayfinding is just simply in the palm of your hand. So a little bit of introduction. I am Jonathan Docksey, the Creative Director of Design JD. We're a wayfinding consultancy and design firm based in London, United Kingdom. Essentially, we solve navigation problems. If people are getting lost, if people don't know how to find their way around, we can put together a strategy to help people get to where they need to get to. So just briefly, what is wayfinding? It's all about solving spatial problems. It's about knowing where you are in the built environment. That might be a hospital, it might be an exhibition, it might be a shopping centre, it might be an industrial estate, or you might be going to watch your football team and not knowing where you're supposed to be sitting. So it's about knowing where you are at the moment and knowing where you're going to get to in the future. So we can ask three questions if we're looking to talk about wayfinding. We can ask, where are you? Where are you heading to? And most importantly, what will you discover on your route there? And that's one very important thing when we think about digital wayfinding. It's important about what we can discover in that journey which you're completing, about finding new places, finding new restaurants, finding new opportunities and new destinations. So we're just simply going to go on a short journey this afternoon. We're going to think about two aspects of wayfinding. We're going to think about how you arrive at a particular place and how you're going to get to that particular place. There's something great about a wayfinding strategy because it enables us to discover new things. But also, once we've discovered a new destination, we need to be able to find our way around that particular place. So I want just now to think about the roles of a wayfinding strategy. We might think of the traditional methods. We might think of the traditional ways of helping people navigate around the built environment. You might think about physical signage. You might think about a little sketch that someone's drawn for you with some directions on it, and various bits and pieces like that. We might think about the digital elements that we can have to help people find their way around the shopping centres. So what we are looking to achieve is a single information stream. We want one area where all the information is uniform, is consistent, and will connect the user's experience. That might be from when they leave their house, that might be from when they are in the transport network, and that might be when they actually arrive at that destination. And the really important thing is you might find your way to a location, but how do you find your car, the train station, on your way back as well? It's important to think about that whole journey when we talk about digital and we talk about wayfinding. So we might think of a traditional type of sign. This is a map in a vast location. This was in the Olympic Park in London, 2012. And it was a map designed to give a vast array of people the right information of the location where they are. How many people can use this particular sign at any one time? You might say 50, 100 people can all read this sign and can all find the information that they need to get from this particular venue. And here we have an interactive digital screen in a hotel or in a shopping mall. How many people can use this particular sign at any one time? One person can interact with this at any one time. The rest will have to queue behind him and wait for that sign to become available. That's when we're talking about digital wayfinding, we're talking about something. It's not just simply putting in screens and putting in touch devices, but thinking about the best devices and the best solutions in the right place at the right time. So when we're thinking about the elements, we think about digital screens, we think about other ways that we can have interactive information. We can have real-time information in a digital space. We can have the right train times, the bus times. We can have how many spaces there are in the car park. We can have all this wealth of information delivered to us at the touch of a button, on a screen, on a sign. Such a great tool that we can add to our palette as wayfinding designers. It's really important that when we're solving a wayfinding problem, we have all these different resources at our hands, you might even say at our fingertips, to be able to actually help people on their journeys around the built environment. Another great way of using the digital media within the wayfinding space is the ability to advertise events, to have promotional material included in a wayfinding family, and we'll look at that a bit later. One element that we think of great for the digital environment would be, for example, in a hotel, in a venue, in a conference centre, where you've got venues and information constantly changing. It's a great opportunity to have that content richly available on a screen that can be changed in 100 locations at the touch of a button, at the click of a mouse. One important thing when we're thinking about how the digital works in a wayfinding solution is that it needs to be integrated. Everything needs to be connected together. We live at the moment in a fully integrated world. We live in a world where everything talks to each other. We might have a phone, we might have a tablet, we might have a computer, we might have all these different devices, and they're all talking together. So people expect that of our signage. People expect that of our navigation material. It's possible for people to expect all the information that they have at home to be on the signs in your particular venue and in your particular resource. But what things then should we consider when we're thinking about a wayfinding strategy? There's lots of things to think about. There's lots more things to understand when we're actually thinking about including digital into any solution that we have. Will it benefit and will it add to the experience of the user? We should all ask these questions when we're thinking about implementing digital into the environment. Will it be physically possible? Sometimes we come up with situations and circumstances where it's not necessarily physically possible to have those devices in place. That device might need a lot of power. That device might need a lot of lighting. That device might even need security behind it when we're actually installing it. We don't want to leave a £50,000 sign in a place where it could well get damaged and it could well get harmed by any particular users wanting to do whatever they want to do with the things in the public realm. So we might think about IT, power and security, all things to really think about when we're developing a successful solution. No one wants a solution to be damaged, and that will harm the look and feel and the environment around it if it's not completed in a successful way. So, we're halfway through. We're going on a journey. We're going to think now about some examples of where a digital wayfinding strategy can be really effective. How it might take something a bit further forward. It might take a current solution and actually make sure that's going to work well for the future. Yes, a wayfinding system needs to reflect the area that it's in. It needs to add to the culture, add to the geographic location, add to all the historical surroundings. Maybe it's a town centre, maybe it's a particular outdoor venue. The wayfinding can actually enhance the brand that it is in front of everybody that is there. So it needs to be at home where it sits and not just dropped from the ether and just planted in that particular space. But actually, it adds and it's a benefit to the location where it's installed. So we're just going to have a couple of examples now. We're going to think, what would it be like to have a successful digital wayfinding strategy going forward? So you may have visited the UK and visited London. London has this successful wayfinding strategy implemented. It's called the Legible London system. It started, these Legible City projects started in Bristol in the UK and have rolled out across the UK and across the world to be able to have cities which are legible, cities where walking and pedestrian use is promoted, cities where discovery is at the core of enabling people to have a great experience in those spaces. But how could a digital environment benefit this particular circumstance? So for the Legible London scheme, it's been developed a digital platform in the Canary Wharf, which is the financial district of London. It enables this particular sign to give a rich array of information. It can be included because the same signage family can have a screen embedded within it. So it is seamless. So it's consistent with the language and the look and feel that that family is creating. So the rich information, as you can see from the screen here, tells you, and you can ask it questions about the environment that is around you. It will give you particular directions and directional and wayfinding information. And at night time, it will tell you where all the best night locations are. So it's changing, it's current, and it's intuitive for every user to engage with. This is a traditional monolith sign for the transport sector, and simply included is a screen, an LED screen, where it can give you live, up-to-date information on the buses and the transport locations where you're needing to get to. So add that wealth of information to your journey, to inform you on your journey, to make your journey a lot more enjoyable, and you'll get to where you get to at the end of the day. But you've seen a digital screen, you've seen a digital wayfinding strategy, but then you're going to walk away from that sign. Then you're going to move away to your destination. How do we take you on that journey? How do we interact with you as a user of a wayfinding strategy? There's various ways that we can do that. We have technology that can talk to our smartphones. We have the near-field communication, where we can touch our smartphone to a code and it will download information to our phone. Another way of doing that is having QR codes on each of the signs. We can then scan that code and then we can take information away with us on the digital platform that we all carry in our pockets. So we can give live, real information. We can give each user more content than we can fit onto a sign. We can use more content than we can fit sensibly into a screen. We can give different types of maps. We can give cycling maps, walking maps, accessibility information. We can include that and make that usable for the various technologies for the visually impaired and those that are hard of hearing as well. All these great technologies can make our spaces more enjoyable, more accessible, and more a pleasure for people to come. One important thing when we're thinking about the whole digital sphere, we need to think about all the environments where people consume their information for navigation. Google, other platforms have great maps and a whole wealth of information on their particular devices. So it's really important to keep that information up to date. For example, we're working with a bus company at the moment, and it's really important for them to keep Google up to date with where all those bus stops are, what bus routes are going through those locations, because then that gives people the right information at the right time. So transport locations, attractions, restaurants, really important to keep that up to date with these particular platforms, because then people will know where you are and be able to trust the information that you're providing. Integrating digital platforms into a wayfinding strategy seamlessly is a really effective way of making this really possible. So for example, you've got an event location. It may be a hotel, it may be a particular destination like that. And there we have the screen built into a particular frame. so it looks as though could well be a traditional sign. It could be a traditional printed graphic, but no, this is a screen which has been integrated seamlessly, and it's able to have that rich content and that rich information on it, saving the company time, effort, and endless bits of A4 paper getting stuck, getting crumpled, and not looking very slick for the brand and for the area. So information is constantly changing. We all carry one in our pocket. We all have a smartphone in our hands. We might be using it to check our email, using it to use Google Maps, or whatever navigation devices we use. We can deliver a rich amount of content through these platforms. And we can take that physical wayfinding strategy onto the smartphone, so you can plan your own journeys, so you can map your own routes of where you need to go and what you need to find. We mentioned that about a family of signs. It's important for that wayfinding strategy to have consistency across the board. But then how do we implement a digital element into that to be able to actually make it an effective one solution? So digital and cutting-edge technology can be included in any wayfinding solution. We are essentially putting big boxes on the street, in the streetscape, so we can include any technology that will fit inside those boxes. We can fit advertising in there. We can fit ANPR, automatic number plate recognition cameras. We can fit detection devices for weather, for climate, for any other particular elements that you want to track and you want to include. We can include cameras in these signs. There's a great wealth of opportunities that we can integrate into a successful wayfinding solution. And one of the interesting things as well when we're working with new technology is we need to be innovating. We need to be looking for more opportunities and pushing the boundary of what it actually means to include digital in the wayfinding space. This is an example that's been used, a little creative opportunity found, simply a finger post, which is not the most exciting sign maybe, but this particular organisation have turned this into an interactive, engaging, and maybe trend-setting device. So I'd just like to show you this video. So here we can see a finger post which has been taken. It's got LED information on there, and it's be able to take information from social media, from events, from things that are going on in the local area, and it's able to react to what's happening at the moment. It's able to deliver the right information at the right time. It's able to put news information, destinations, and various rich content, and it's able to move as it needs to around the different spaces that it needs to go to. So it can give you the travel information, where the restaurants are, and it's able there to give you such a wealth of information. So there's exciting, new and cutting-edge opportunities if we can integrate a wayfinding solution with digital spaces in a successful and a succinct manner. So what should we be thinking about when we're thinking about a wayfinding solution in the digital space in the age which we meet? We are great and excited about all the opportunities that we can now add to our wayfinding strategies as a result of having these kit of parts, these tools in the palette of a solution. It's really important to think of the problem, and then we can match the solution which fits to that particular outcome. So does it meet the needs of the client? Does it meet the needs of the user? Does it add to the journey that people are going on and that people are going to experience? So I'd like to thank you for listening this afternoon, and if you have any interest to you, please take a card afterwards, and we look forward to discussing all the opportunities that are exciting in this day and age, and we can use all these digital and rich content that are available at the show to be able to implement and improve people's journeys going forward.